Hey ladies, it's your girl Truly Inspired Martin, and you're not here by chance. Nah, baby, this is on purpose because what we do here is equip and empower you to become the woman that you desire and deserve. You are here because you are ready to restore, reset, and reclaim your life and increase your emotional intelligence. That won't happen everywhere, but here we make shit happen. So let's get it. Hey ladies, it's your girl Truly Inspired Martin, and baby, we are back and better than ever every Thursday, 7 a.m. Catch us on every podcast platform. And I know you've been out here working on you. I see you, girl, doing what you do. But guess what? The journey continues. So if you are truly ready to go from BS to success, welcome back to the Recrown You podcast. Everybody wants to be, but nobody wants to do. Girl, it's time to be real, raw, and relentless. Everybody wants to be, but nobody wants to do. You know it's time. Recrown you. What's up, guys? It's your girl, Truly Inspired Martin, and welcome back to another episode of the Recrown You podcast. That's right, ladies. We are here for the women who are ready to be real, to be raw, and to be relentless in their pursuit to unleash their inner badass. Over here on this block, we are here for the baddies. And those that know, they know, right? Our baddies are women who are real, raw, relentless, resilient, resourceful, and really ready to get it done. You are real, mama. That means you are down with being your most authentic self. You are raw in all your approaches. That means you just get to it, right? You don't got time for the fluff. You don't got time for the bullshit. You want it raw and uncut, right? And you're resourceful. You make things happen by any means necessary. You're resilient. You bounce back real easy when life tries to hand you some lemons. You out here making lemonade, okay? And you are relentless. You go in no matter what the case is. No matter what tries to come against you, you will push back. You will notice that there are times in life when the resistance tries to take you out, baby. Okay? But there is resistance, and then you are the resilient one in the whole ordeal. So, I don't know if this is your first time visiting this block, or maybe somebody told you about us and you slid over here. Or maybe you are a loyalist. Like, you've been here a few times, you've been here over the years, and you are here again. So, no matter which one of those categories you fit in, hey girl, hey, and welcome back to the Recrown You podcast. So, before we go any further, make sure that you go ahead and subscribe, lock in so that you will get notifications about these episodes every time they pop up. Make sure that you also head over to www.itstrulyinspiredmartin.com/ Recrown You podcast or /podcast. Either one will take you to the page, and you can actually lock into our email list so that you can get exclusives when they come out. You can also follow us on our Instagram page at the Recrown You podcast. It's actually Recrown You podcast, but I want you to make sure that you can lock in and get us how you live. I know y'all been watching the news and all of that, right? The news, aka social media, right? Because that's where we get our news from these days. So we're talking about all the blogs, the TMZs, the Hollywood Unlocked, the Gossip in the City, the Spiritual Word, all of them, right? Everybody has brought up this topic at least once over the last few weeks. And it's interesting to me, actually, because this is a thing that is happening quite a bit. Some people are saying that it's a ploy against our black men. I wouldn't necessarily call it that per se. But I think that sometimes, right, when things happen in the dark, at some point it comes to the light. Now, all parties are innocent until proven guilty, so I will not necessarily deem anyone under any specific title or, name them as anything until proven guilty. But that does not negate the fact that the stories that are being put out by women should not be taken seriously. And I think one of the reasons why some of these things hit home for me is some of the situations that I've been through in my own life, right? And sometimes it always felt like I was not always believed, or they didn't go as hard to find a resolution to my issue. Like, take for instance, if you've seen over this past week, because baby, Diddy been all in the news. Okay, Diddy been in the news heavy. First, we started with the whole situation with Cassie filed that lawsuit. Now everybody's like, damn, why she waited this long? Sis got a kid, she married. Like, why now? I mean, there's a lot of different reasons as to why now this might be happening. It could be a financial thing. Don't know her current situation with her and Hubs. People have that, perspective as well, saying that, he don't really make that much money, blah blah blah. So maybe it's time to hit the pockets. My perspective is there's a possibility, a high possibility, which I'm almost 1,000% sure there was some form of an NDA, some form of um, documentation that prohibited her from speaking on any of these things outside of a certain time frame. Now, just like anything else, NDAs and things of that nature should, if not written in perpetuity, it should have some kind of expiration date. So, my thoughts are maybe that expiration date has arrived, because she definitely tried to talk to him on the side, from what sources say. Talk to him on the side to kind of say, hey, this is what I need, or I'm going public. And he basically called her bluff, like, I'm not paying nothing, you'll be all right, yada, yada, yada. All of a sudden, when she actually went and filed that thing 24, not even 24 hours later, I think sis was asking for like 30 mil. My man went as high as 100 mil to squash the whole case. And I'm sure that that's an ironclad sign off. She can no longer speak on anything in there. But the documentation was documenting, okay? Like, it was definitely given what it should have gave. I think I saw some pages of the document, and I was just like, damn, so in depth. So, like, there's no way somebody could sit down and make up all this information about their own life, knowing that it could go public, and falsify that information. Like, why would you even want that kind of information, that kind of hurt, pain, trauma, publicized, if that's what you went through? So people stating that, it was a ploy and etc., etc. I highly doubt that that would be something that she would do. So, circling back to the fact that that situation got solved rather quickly, what happened from that is a bunch of other things arose, right? Like, from different parties, people started talking about their own encounters with the man. Okay. And just all these, it was almost like Pandora's box just started opening up, and boy, did the floodgates open, right? So, another thing that I saw in the same case, tied back to Cassie, right? Diddy's former head of security, I think his name is Roger Bonds or something like that. Head of security, he said that he's seen it, saw it, and was involved with it for years, right? And quote, these are quotes, okay? He literally said, I seen it, saw it, and was involved with it for years. So, okay, just to kind of sit on that one for a little second. If you seen it, saw it, and was involved with it for years, why talk now? Here's why you talk now. Because he even spoke on it. Because the man was supposed to do certain things for him, I guess financially or whatever. He fell through and didn't do it, or didn't care to do it. And or there was a situation where I believe Roger Bond's son or something was in trouble with the law, or needed some kind of bond money, or whatever the financial situation was, and Diddy didn't look out, right? So now, you know, a hit dog will holler. So now he's feeling some type of way that Cassie just got this huge payout for enduring the things that he allowed, or as he said, the things he seen, he saw, and was involved in. So now that you've seen that the payout went somewhere, now you wanna sing like a bird about the things that you witnessed, to out this man, to discredit this man. And I'm not saying none of it's not true, but we got to look at the cycle of events. So now he wants his payout. But my whole thing is, if you knew what you was doing was wrong all this time, you was only cool with it when it benefited you, instead of having some kind of morals, some kind of empathy for those that you seen go through the things that they did with him, right? So to me, it's kind of interesting that now all of a sudden you want to reveal his skeletons in his closet, but I'm gonna need you to make sure that you drop a couple of yours on the way out too. Because how do you allow these things to happen to these women that you state happened? Because you seen it, you saw it, and was involved with it. But now, all of a sudden, you ready to air him out because he didn't follow through on whatever check he was supposed to give you. It's really interesting to me that people only find the wrongdoing in things when it no longer serves them or benefits them, mostly in a financial state. So now all of a sudden the payment stopped, or the whatever ties to Diddy he had is no longer there. Now all of a sudden I'm a sing. It's the same thing with the dude that claimed to have been a best friend or a close friend of Will Smith, and all of a sudden he telling all his quote unquote dirty laundry, right? Like there's always something when somebody, I mean, we can take it all the way back to August Alsina singing like a canary with the whole Jada and Will thing. Something fell apart where it no longer benefited him, or he was so butthurt that he decided that he was going to sing all the information because now I want you to hurt. Now I want to put all your business out there. Like there's a whole lot of these situations going on, and I mean I can speak on several other instances as well. But I think one of the ones that really hit home for me was one of the stories that I seen recently, still involving DIDDY, right? Still in that same realm, but it's interesting to me how these things are being revealed about people, and they need to be held accountable, right? Because Diddy's not the only one that's been in the news for issues, but that's who we talking about right now. And I'm trying to pull up this information because I want to make sure that I have it very accurately. Because I thought I saved it today. But let's see. I'm literally looking at this while I'm with you all right now. Like this is real time. So I don't know if I saw it today or yesterday or a couple days ago. Not really sure. Okay. New lawsuit accuses Diddy and two other men of sexually assaulting 17-year-old girl in 2003. Diddy denies allegations in new statement. Now, as many of us may know, the year is now 2023, right? So, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm not going to lie to you, that might be, I wonder if that's in New York. Look, we going to get the facts. We're not going to talk the nonsense over here. I want to make sure that we get this information in real time. So, as many of us may or may not know, there was actually I want to call it a act or something that was put in place in the state of New York, right? Because all of this is happening in New York. So New York had eliminated their time limitations for sexual assault claims for, I believe it was the entire year of 2023. I believe it ends at the end of December. So everybody is literally getting a lick back right now, okay? So New York City's Victims of Gender Motivated Violence Protection Act permits alleged victims to bring claims within 7 years of the alleged physical violation. And CPLR 213-C, which was amended in September of 2019, also is used to bring civil claims of sexual assault under a 20-year statute of limitations, right? So let's get a little bit more into that. So the The statute of limitations for sexual abuse cases in New York varies depending on the type of abuse you suffered and your age at the time it occurred. Wild. Sexual abuse laws can be complex, but a civil litigation attorney with our firm can work to. This is somebody selling, but that's only the first part that I needed y'all to really like hone into, right? And then the statute of limitations for taking civil action against an abuser or third party, such as church, school, or business, is different based on whether you suffered the abuse as a child or as an adult. Until recently, adult sexual abuse victims in New York had between 1 and 5 years to pursue a civil lawsuit or press criminal charges for most sexual abuse, assault, violence, or misconduct offenses. However, in 2019, the state extended the statute of limitations for some sex crimes under CVP slash 213-C, commonly known as the Child Victims Act. Now, victims over 18 have 20 years to take action for new offenses. The change is not retroactive. You can find a list of sex crimes included in the extension at nyccourts.gov, right? Digging a little bit deeper, the Adult Survivors Act. This is a big one. New York's Adult Survivors Act, signed into law in May 2022, right? That's just last year, allows adult sexual abuse victims previously barred by the statute of limitations a limited look back, quote unquote, window to take action. Under this act, victims will have from November 2022 to November 2023 to file a lawsuit for any abuse suffered after age 18, regardless of how long ago the abuse occurred. Sit on that. So a lot of these things that you're hearing about are cases they probably was already filed last month, but we just hearing about them now, right? And that kind of happens. So New York state of limitations for child sexual abuse. New York can also recently extended the statute of limitations for victims seeking compensation for child sexual abuse. According to the New York City Bar, the Child Victims Act gives victims until age 55 to file a civil lawsuit for damages related to child abuse. Previously, victims only had until age 23. Baby, they done doubled up, okay? The Child Victims Act also allowed a look-back window and was the model for the Adult Survivors Act. However, the look-back window for child sexual abuse cases ended in August 2021. So why did New York extend the deadlines to pursue sexual abuse cases? Here's why. New York is one of the many states that is changing the law in recognition of how hard it can be for sexual abuse victims to come forward. Victims often experience feelings of guilt, shame, depression, and confusion. They may feel fearful or even guilty about reporting their abuser, particularly if it is someone they know and trust, like a religious leader, teacher, family member, or friend. This can be especially true for child victims. Extending or tolling the statute of limitations acknowledges the societal, legal, and personal hurdles victims face in reporting abuse and gives them more time to bring their abuser or the institution that harbored them to justice. Any attorney can help you to give more information, like further questions about statute of limitations, tolling, and all of that good stuff. So the interesting part is, here's some of the things that you can look into, right? So you can pursue monetary compensation for sexual abuse damages, right? So a lot of people are like, throw him in jail, throw away the key, blah blah blah. There's still I believe, some form of limitation as to pursuing the criminal charges based on some of the years of some of these allegations that people have thrown out. But that does not mean that they could not attack a civil case, right? And that's where you can actually get monetary compensation. So one of the things, or a few of the things that you can pursue compensation for is medical bills. Like you can seek the cost of past and future medical care related to your abuse. like emergency room visits, hospital stays, doctor's visits, medical procedures, prescriptions, mental health services, etc. Loss in income. This includes back pay, lost wages, earnings and benefits, and loss of your earning, and pain and suffering, right? The pain and suffering part is what I think a lot of people are able to kind of hone into on this part, because sexual abuse often causes physical, emotional, and mental harm. And you can seek monetary awards for severe bodily injury, depression, PTSD, anxiety, fear, insomnia, mental anguish, and other quality of life reductions. Now, let me tell you why I feel like all of this is so important, right? So, me seeing that article about this young lady pursuing a lawsuit against Diddy for being gang raped struck a nerve for me, right? Because many of you that know, if y'all listen to the podcast for the over the years, y'all know my story. If you've read my book, Recrown You, at all, you probably know some of these parts of my story as well. But as a teenager, I myself was gang raped. So when I hear stuff like this, it's a trigger, not a trigger in like a necessarily a PTSD way, but hey, maybe that too. But it makes me, one, glad that New York implemented this act, right, to help those that tried to speak up for themselves but did not get the help that they needed. Um, that type of stuff is important, right? It's a good way to give people their voice back, their life back, and feel like they're getting some kind of justice. As someone that never got justice for my situation, I feel it for victims like this, because after a while you shell up, you try to move on with your life, and some of those things leave remnants of pain, hurt, um, on like you don't trust people, right? You're always on your P's and Q's in certain situations. Like, those things leave a certain type of trauma on you or in you, and to be able to have the opportunity to speak up for yourself when you feel like nobody listened, or to speak up for you when you were young and you might think that you no longer have the opportunity to regain your power, or you might see that person going on living their life and looks like everything's all great. Because I know, if a young lady like this dealt with a situation like that from somebody like him, they're literally watching you do your thing in life every day publicly, and being with this woman and that woman and doing etc etc. And Cassie, literally, I believe this is how I look at it, she served as a torch, right? Like, she lit a flame and she passed it back, like this, like it's almost like it's okay to speak now, like, I'm at this level, I'm doing X, Y, and Z, so feel free to do whatever y'all need to do. Now, I'm not saying that they all, know each other or had like a powwow or nothing, but what I'm saying is sometimes you feel like you're so alone and this hasn't happened to anybody else, or with this person, or when you see somebody in a certain level of power, or money buys everything, or even in situations where you might be dealing with just a regular Joe Schmo that did something to you, sometimes you just don't get the respect to be understood for your situation, right? And that can really suck, because it's painful knowing that you've dealt with something and no one cares, right? Or you feel like no one cares. You might have tried to talk to the police, you might have written a report, you might have had to do a rape kit, like you had to go through all the things, but nobody cares, right? And I think that this is a moment for women to heal, right? This is a moment where we can actually talk about those things that we've gone through and go back and say, you know what, I need justice, I need closure. And I applaud New York for this act. Now I'm wondering, are there any other states that have followed this same, like, I just really wonder, like, has anybody else like said, you know what, we're gonna do that too, or we should allow this so that women, men, whomever, because everybody can encounter these types of situations, get the justice they deserve. Like, we need you to take a look back. We need you to reopen that. Pay attention to this, right? And just hearing some of the stories that I'm hearing, and being someone that I know personally myself, I know what it feels like to be almost hung out to dry and not get the justice or the closure that you deserve, because nobody did what needed to be done to get things fixed, to get things handled, to feel hmm to understand or believe that what she said is true. Right? I think Malcolm X said it best. The most disrespected person in America is the black woman. I'll take it a step further. The most disrespected person in America is the woman. Now, some of y'all might jump in and say, well, Caucasian women don't deal with this, and, Mexican women deal with something else, and black women. But I've seen a pattern across the board in that, and women just fall way lower on the totem pole when it comes to overall structure of things. So I want to beg to differ and say that, you know what? Women have encountered so much of this stuff. Women have encountered so many things and have always had to just posture up and keep it moving because we're not believed or understood, or because we walk around with our head held high and our crowns to the sky every day, that we are the walking billboard for strength. And even in that strength, there is weakness. And the weakness does not make you below the bar, it does not make you less than. Weakness is literally you compounding all of the trauma, all of the hurt, all of the pain over so many years. And now you're just at your breaking point where it needs to be released from your mind, from your spirit, from your body. It does not make you any less than. And I think that having acts like what New York have enacted and things of that nature that allow women to stand boldly in who they are, stand boldly in their stories, being able to stand in their truth and be heard and be understood and be taken serious. I think that's a next level of really giving women their power back, because it's always been like a give and take with us, right? They'll give us a little bit, take more. They'll give us a little bit more. Now we're gonna find different ways to restrict what you can do, to tell you what to do with yourself. Like, it's always going to be just not enough. Like, we're gonna give you just enough. So I really just wanted to kind of touch on this because it hit home. Like, it hit home to see that a man in power could really do the things, and everything is allegedly right now, right? Um, but I don't want to discredit by saying allegedly, right? I don't want to discredit these women's stories because it takes a lot to stand 10 toes down and stand on your truth. That's legit standing on business, because you really have to have some kind of strong posture, strong mindset to be able to even take on the things that you take on, to be able to even stand in front of a case like this and relive, re-traumatize yourself by telling the stories, putting out the pictures, putting it in writing, knowing there's the highest of possibilities that it can go public. It takes a different type of strength. So if you are a woman that has dealt with or is dealing with things like this, research. Find ways to find your own closure. If there is someone that has wronged you and you feel like you could never speak up, you feel like you have a fear of retaliation, whatever that is, but you live your life on edge every day, you live your life in a place of uneasy, not fully living out your truth, not fully living the life that you desire and deserve. We only get one. Don't let these people play in your face. You gotta stop letting people play in your face, and you have to become selfish in this life and always choose you first. Like, protect you first. When you move, you move. Just like that. But I hope this episode touched somebody. If it ain't touch you, I hope it at least gave you some knowledge. Hope it gave you some tools. Hope it gave you some strength. Put a couple jewels back into your crown, knowing that you matter, your story matters, your truth matters, and don't let anybody discredit that. Stand up for you. Find somebody that will stand with you and make shit happen. So, I'm going to catch y'all next week. Y'all know, every Thursday, 7 a.m., we in the building. And that in-person grief episode is coming. But your girl got to kind of deal with her own real fast. And that doesn't mean I'm going to have it all together by that episode. But it just means that it'll be easier to divulge the information and really go deep. Because I think that this conversation is going to be something game-changing. And I can't wait to have you in the building or through my speakers. So, in the meantime, in between time, I'm going to catch y'all next time. It's your girl.
You know it's time.